This is America's oldest soccer tournament. Built in small towns with big dreams. From local grounds to the biggest stages, part-timers and major leaguers chase the same thing. A cup that doesn't care about your club's payroll or what the pundits say. A cup that invites the chaos and carries a legacy. Under the lights, between the lines, it's one match at a time. To cement your name in history. This is the 111th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
80 teams started with the hope of lifting the trophy in the 111th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. That includes the Charleston Battery and Florida Badgers FC, who do battle tonight in the first round from Patriots Point. Happy to have you along for this one with the former national teamer Casey White. I'm Joe Malfa. Casey, this is really a true tale of David and Goliath in this tournament. We'll get to Badgers FC in a moment, but the Charleston Battery, one of the oldest clubs in this competition, 25th appearance in the Open Cup.
The Charleston Battery are no stranger to success or the Open Cup with their 25th appearance, and also they know what it takes to get to the final. They did it in 2008, but it's one game at a time here in the Open Cup.
The operating number is one game at a time. This is game one ever for Badgers FC in the Open Cup. The team from South Florida pulled off one of the big upsets of qualifying, defeating Miami United, who are perennial contenders out of that region. They're 8 times Miami United in this tournament. Florida Badgers FC knocked them off this year. Jerome Joseph, the manager, guiding them into their first ever Open Cup. They were only founded in 2025, so it's a brand new club. Welcome to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup as we take a look at the inaugural starting 11 for Florida Badgers FC and the 11 for the Charleston Battery.
For the Charleston Battery, make sure you look at Emilio Icaza in midfield. They're going to need a lot of 1v1 penetration. He's very good off the dribble, but also with Sean Suber in the back, he'll have to keep them organized for a potential counterattack from the Florida Badgers. Watch for Ethan Gelb and Altidore up top to try to get into the wide channels and breaking lines, and John is going to be really important in hold-up play as they try to play forward.
Look, you never know in this tournament. That's why the Open Cup is so special. On paper coming in, maybe the biggest disparity, royalty in the Charleston Battery, newcomers in Florida Badgers FC. They do battle next here in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to chip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Rolls the ball. It's Gio Reyna across goal. Balogun! The way opens up for Alex Freeman. Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to chip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Rolls the ball. Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to chip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Rolls the ball.
Just about set to kick things off between the Charleston Battery and Florida Badgers FC. Once again with Casey White, I'm Joe Malva. Happy to have you along. Casey, look, it's a cup competition. You never know in a tournament like this. You're gunning for a top team here if you're Florida Badgers FC. How do you make sure you shake off the nerves and play the team, play the game, and not play the moment?
You have to get your first something in as a player, whether it's a tackle, whether it's completing your first pass, your first crisp touch, whatever it is that brings your confidence, because that has to be first and foremost part of it. You have to come out with confidence, then within a tactical structure, realize you are playing a tough team if you're the Florida Badgers in this scenario. But I think it's really about just getting yourself into the game quickly. And
for the Charleston Battery coming into this game, I had a chance to chat with Ben Peterman, the head coach. There's things they're happy with from the start of the USL Championship season. There's things they feel could be better. They had a weird week 2 bye week, but the opening week saw them win 2-1 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Could be an equally good opportunity for them to further get on track after that awkward early season bye last week.
Exactly. It's about result, these games, but they also need to continue to solidify the way they're playing, get more people feeling comfortable with that bye week, get back into it, see if they can solidify their principles of play with also getting the result here tonight.
Florida Badgers coming into this one again, their first ever appearance in Open Cup, having knocked off Miami United, 8-time participants, 8-time qualifiers from that regional qualifier. Charleston Battery in their 25th Open Cup appearance, founded back in 1993. The good news historically for the Charleston Battery as they go right to left in the black and Florida Badgers left to right in that reddish burnt orange. The good news for Charleston, they have been dominant against amateur sides in their history in this tournament. 15-1-1, the Battery's record. It's a very proud franchise, especially when it comes to Open Cup. You referenced it earlier, that 08 trip to the final against DC United. They're not going to be taking this evening lightly, even though it is an amateur side across from them.
Well, like you said, speaking with Ben Peterman as well, it's about being the best version of themselves regardless of who they are playing, and there's that vision for how they're going to continue to grow, and they take that into every game.
Referee in charge tonight, Tiago dos Santos. Beautiful evening in Mount Pleasant. And the countdown begins in stadium, and we are ready to get things going in the 111th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It's the Charleston Battery and Florida Badgers FC. Glad to have you with us this evening on YouTube. Opening round action so far last night through one night of action. Only saw one cup set, a little light on the cup sets last night. Could be setting the stage for a busier day of those cup sets here on day 2.
Definitely don't get comfortable. We know they come at some point. Just will it be this game or will it be another one?
Charleston want to jump right on Badgers FC. This is an area where you always feel like the higher division sides have an advantage over the amateur sides. Set pieces, organization, structure, things off the training ground, like this seems to be here. Taken quickly. Ikaza feeds it in front. Ball bounding around. Emergency defending by Badgers. Get it away. Kept in play. And blocked by Roche.
Well, you did mention the set pieces as well. That can be a great equalizer for the sides that aren't as favored, but you're right. It's not something you really work on if you don't have enough time, and so it's one of the last things that usually comes in all of your phases of play. So the advantage definitely does go to the Charleston Battery on that side.
Expect a lot of control in terms of the possession from Charleston here in this one tonight. Looking long over the top for Colton Swan, 18-year-old until May 3rd. In his first professional season. Spent last year at Indiana collegiately, his lone collegiate season. Top team in the Big Ten, had 3 goals and 2 assists in 14 games.
Well, this is what we expect to see from the Badgers. This is low block defending. Just make sure they keep the Charleston Battery in front of them so the ball just has to move very quick.
Nate Messer swings it in. Messer in his first year with the Charleston Battery, coming over from Portland Hearts of Pine, who were in the Open Cup news last night. They were the victim of the lone cup set with Vermont Green taking them down. Flag stays down here for Messer. Options centrally. active start for Messer. Another service in, another header. This one goes out for a corner.
Well, that all starts from the probing of Graham Smith out of the back. It forces Deliska to make a decision. Do I step to Smith or do I stay with Messer? And he steps, he finds Messer in that wide channel. That's where a lot of this play will be really beneficial for the Battery.
First corner of the evening for Charleston. Dropped into edge of the 6. No trouble for Badgers. Swing and a miss on it from Wilmer Cabrera. One of the big key acquisitions of the offseason for the Charleston Battery. First time in the attacking third for Badgers. Work down to the end line. Battle for it. And a throw for Charleston. Those opportunities down at that end might be few and far between for Badgers. Have to make the most of it when they arrive.
Definitely, and they have reinforcements. I like that they had multiple players joining into that attacking third, but you're just trying to earn a corner kick in those moments, get a throw in deep in their end, and get numbers up as much as possible when they can.
Sue Landry, Langston Blackstock into the channel. Flag stays down. One of the things Ben Pierman mentioned he wanted to see is just more assertiveness in the attack here tonight, knowing that it's a game where Charleston is going to be on the front foot, going to have possession, and he didn't make it seem again like they're taking this lightly by any means, but it's an opportunity for the attack to get in sync.
It certainly is, and it's an opportunity to show your hunger, your aggressiveness to want to make things happen. Not only do you want to see that in your team all the time, but especially when you know you're going to play a team that's going to be forced into more of a defensive block. You have to be intentional. You have to draw them out. That's got to be done off the dribble or with really quick passing. So something he certainly wants to see from those front 5 players as they get into the attack.
And Dave Dunn will get it back into play for Badgers. They come in largely as an unknown. You see the different makeup of some of these amateur teams around Open Cup. Some teams like Vermont Green, you have a lot of college players who are in between seasons looking for a time and a place to play. Other organizations, like later tonight, you and I will see Laguna United against Orange County. They're a largely academy-based organization from the area. A couple of guys tacked on top of that who are collegiate players themselves. Badgers, all local amateurs, just coming together, almost think Sunday League vibes sort of ordeal. The only player who has some sort of claim to stake historically in the midfield, Romelaire Ambrose, back in 2015 for Deerfield Beach High School, was the player of the year in the conference. This is a team that just came together through qualifying, found a way to get through and upset Miami United, or the fixtures from the region in Open Cup. And we get to know Badgers for the first time ever in Open Cup this year.
Well, and what an opportunity. That's exactly what Lamar Hunt US Open Cup is about, is having teams that can get an upset in qualifiers, have the opportunity to face a team like the Charleston Battery with all the storied history they have. That's what players want. They want the opportunity to do that, and we're seeing that here tonight.
Could be numbers here for Charleston. Ikaza, overlap coming from Malik Foster, uses him. Foster, knocked away by Ben Zdeliska. Pahomov. They were happy to get Kirill Pahomov ready and healthy today. Played last year at Marshall. His lone season at the D1 level after some time at Oklahoma Wesleyan at the NAIA level. Pahomov wasn't healthy for their season opener. Used last week's bye week to get healthy and starts tonight. To the end line for Husu Landry and another corner for the Charleston Battery.
Well, we're seeing some good attacking movements, rotations to get the Charleston Battery midfielders higher. But with the way that the Badgers are set up, they have that extra center back that's able to cover. So not only do you have to beat their wing back, but you've also got to draw out those outside center backs as well, or he'll be able to cover in a lot of those moments.
From the corner, a lot of traffic in front. And they're asking for another corner now, Charleston. Referee says goal kick. The road to get here for Badgers, their first ever qualifying game. They played Fort Myers City. They won it 1-0 and a 90th minute stoppage time goal from Dave Altidore, who's starting again tonight. Following round, a couple of early goals led to a dominant performance overall, 5-0 victory. And then the final against Miami United, 5-3 victory in extra time. Miami United took a 3-2 lead early in extra time, and then within that extra time, Badgers scored 3 unanswered to win it 5-3. So they could score goals in bunches as they showcase in qualifying, but a much different animal coming on the road here against one of the top teams in USL Championship.
Well, and also showing that they could come from a couple goals down as well. There's a mentality shift to that. Like you said, it is different what type of setup, who they're playing against, but something to consider for the Charleston Battery. You don't want to let a team like this hang around. Be really intentional in the way you attack. You can take a professional, composed approach, but you also want to be dangerous in the final third as soon as possible so they don't grow too much in belief.
Well, badger, the verb, means to be annoying, essentially.
It certainly does.
You don't want the Badgers badgering you if you're Charleston. You want to jump on this as soon as you can. Another free kick on the way. Elsewhere, there is one potential cup set brewing very early on. Kalonji Profile winning 1-0 on the road at the moment against Chattanooga FC. Deflected out for another Battery corner. Coming up in a dozen minutes, another 3 games set to join the fray. FC Naples hosting Red Force, Louisville City hosting Southern Indiana, and Motown, a New Jersey team that has shown in this tournament before that they can pull off a couple of cup sets. They welcome Hartford Athletic. It's one of the couple of matchups tonight that do see the lower division side hosting the USL Championship or USL League One side. Corner curled in from Messer, glancing header, oh, saved. Maybe right before it would have crossed the line by the defender for Badgers FC in a corner from the opposite side.
It certainly did look like it was either going to sneak in the back post or go to the Charleston Battery player that was standing inside the 6-yard box. So great intervention there by Deliska.
Messer there as a short option. Direct to the back post. On the volley through all the traffic, Cabrera nearly. Foster. Messer. Numbers still forward for Charleston after the corner. Messer spins, delivers, free header, loose in front. That's one of those that's harder to miss than it is to make from that close in.
Well, Messer certainly has been a bright spot in the outside channel, taking on in the 1v1, then realizes the pressure is coming, gets it to the back post. It's headed straight down and on the bounce up. That's where the contact's made. That's why it continues to sail over. But the Badgers have to be careful here because if they don't clear those lines, there's a lot of players for Charleston that are sitting right inside that 6-yard box.
One that Emilio Icaza would like back. Icaza, 2 goals last season and 27 appearances for the Battery. More so the creator and the engine of the midfield than the finisher.
I'm going to stick up for equalizer a little bit in that moment because it always looks so easy when you're watching, but when that is bouncing down like it is and your feet aren't quite ready, it's very hard to get over the top of that in that kind of moment. Yes, you got to finish it. It's right there, but technically if your body's not ready and prepared, it can be hard.
Badgers with a lifeline after that. Look at a counter. Ethan Gelb cutting in. Gelb dodging a couple of defenders, but just a black jersey swarming in the end. But Gelb wins it back. And now, call for the foul.
That's now twice we're seeing the Charleston Battery get the ball and play very quickly. So we've seen Badgers FC talk to the referee or be not quite prepared behind the ball. I think they're looking to counter quickly when they can, not allowing the Badgers to get into their defensive shape.
Chattanooga FC have tied things up against Kalanji Pro Profile, so what was looking maybe like an early cup set brewing, Chattanooga has struck back. Chance brewing for Charleston.
Well, it's really nice in the wide channel. And as much as the Charleston Battery have possession to push them back, that open space is also very good for them.
Messer gets there, right into the arms of Barthelemy. Clear out challenge. Easy call for a free kick. Charleston's asking for a card. The foul tally is certainly rising here early on. Lower division side, amateur side coming in. You expect them to be physical, try to assert themselves in that way.
You have to figure out ways to cover space or slow down players. It's incredibly hard to do that sometimes. You just have to have some of those fouls that are strategic. They're a little further from goal. It's whether it starts to get on the top of their 18 that's going to be a problem where the Charleston Battery can really have the ability to turn it into goal-scoring chances.
Smith is dummied through by Cabrera. Messer back for Graham Smith. 2024 Defender of the Year in USL Championship, Graham Smith. Messer. Fouled Wilmer Cabrera. Free kick coming for Charleston.
Well, this is the area I'm referring to because now this is something that you can put it on the frame of goal with lots of runners running towards Barthelemy in that area to put him under pressure. So the more that Charleston moves the ball, I've liked what they've done. The more they move it, it's going to cause Badgers FC to have to make those decisions around their goal.
Between some wide free kicks and corners, the opportunities on these set pieces in dangerous areas really rising for the Charleston Battery. We've had 4 corners. It's now 3 free kicks in a similar position to this. Had a couple of free headers in moments that probably should have been finished off. Feels a matter of time for the Battery. Will it come here? Messer swings it in. Cabrera trying to find a lane to shoot. Instead, gives it away.
I don't mind the option to go there, though, just because that's where the space is.
On May 31st in Charlotte, North Carolina, the United States men's national team in the All-State Continental Classico will welcome Senegal. Get your first look at the nation's biggest stars before they head off to the FIFA World Cup this summer. The match kicks off at Bank of America Stadium at 3:30 Eastern. Tickets are available now at ussoccer.com/tickets. Artur is looking for Gelb, not on the same page.
There's good composure in midfield to connect a few passes. That is something that Badgers FC is going to have to do under immense pressure. Connect the first pass, connect the second pass, then it allows numbers to get more forward, but incredibly hard to do with the Battery just counter-pressing right away.
Messer. Landry chopped down. Referee says play on. And calls it against Charleston. Given away the free kick by Badgers.
Well, and that's an opportunity right there where technically it has to be on. They've done really well, the Charleston Battery, to take advantage of the Badgers FC's back line being a little bit higher. Then you create the 2v1. And it's so hard to go against a low block. So those are moments where they want to be really efficient in front of goal.
Oh, the new cup set alert is Asheville. Up 1-0 on Greenville. Great ball out wide. Foster goes for a goal, took a deflection it sounded like, and the referee picked up on it as well. Out for a corner. Short corner, Messer. Kaza wanted it back. Messer drops it in, back post, free header. It was a matter of time for Charleston, and finally the breakthrough.
Well, it's great recognition to go for the short corner. Nate Messer takes on himself, plays it to the back post area. It's not able to go towards goal with a lot of power, but then going through the middle was Colton Swan. Very good to recycle his run when defenders aren't quite paying attention. They're looking at the original ball. With the height of the cross, it was hard to get that on frame, but a great finish from Swan coming through on the second chance.
And that's something that's going to make Ben Pierman very happy. Colton Swan, the 18-year-old, taking a chance on him this year, hoping that he can develop into something special. He showed glimpses of it last year at Indiana in the college ranks. 3 goals, 2 assists. Before that, he was on a academy deal in MLS Next Pro, coming up to the Colorado Rapids Academy. So pro experience at the MLS Next Pro level in 2024 and 2025. Saw him score 6 goals and 28 professional appearances, again, while on an academy contract, keeping that amateur status going to Indiana last year. Now on a pro deal, fully turning pro finally with the Battery. Turned 19 in a month and a half, and he has his first goal for Charleston.
Well, and I appreciate his short memory. I think we always talk about be a goldfish, right? Came from Ted Lasso. Like, forget about what happened a couple minutes ago, because he missed that pass across the box to Cabrera when he was trying to be the assister in that moment. Then he's able to come back just a minute later, be able to convert. That's what you need out of your center forward, is their ability to just look for the next play where they can make an impact.
This is that important moment in these matches in cup competition, Casey, where if Badgers are not careful, it can snowball. Once the first one goes in for a team like Charleston, the confidence grows, and it quickly can become more. Here they go again, Messer.
You bring up a really good point, because the confidence grows, but also the emotional management of the team that's down can be really difficult, because now they want to chase the game a little bit. And when you chase the game, you open up more spaces. You may not have as disciplined of a defensive unit. Instead of a 5-back like they have, it might turn into a 3 or a 4 if players get caught too high. Well, that just gives more space to the Battery. So I think the right approach for the Badgers FC this early on is to stay in their compact shape and try to keep it at this 1-0 scoreline.
Colton Swan was part of the United States U19 national team camp earlier this winter. Another free kick coming for the Battery.
That was Roche just stepping through. The center backs need to be aggressive and the ball will come back, but they need to be aggressive. But when they have no ability to win it, you're better off standing up the Battery, making them play backwards and not exposing themselves to the set piece or to the space that they've vacated.
After what Colton Swan did in that U19 camp for the United States, what he's starting to do now for Charleston, you wonder if a U20 call-up is in his future. Certainly the hope for the young talent. Landry. Out wide for Blackstock. Option streaking, deflecting through, left for Messer. Ikaza clips it, back post. That's where the free space has been for Charleston. Every single one of these set pieces, the likes of Suber and Smith and whoever else has been sent forward, the back post has been completely unmarked.
They certainly have, and then the secondary runners, once the ball bypasses, are then unmarked. That's exactly how the goal happened. So there has to be some kind of sorting out of how to track your runners on those second chance opportunities. One thing I will say is Ambrose came over on that short corner, was more alert to it this time to make it a 2v2 instead of a 2v1, which led to the first goal.
Free kick goal for the Greenville Triumph elsewhere. It's 1-1 now between Asheville City and Greenville. Still 1-1 between Chattanooga and Kalanji. So the two early cup set bids elsewhere, with the amateur sides going up on the pro sides. Pro sides have answered back in both instances. Can Badgers do the same here? Messer. In many ways, a lot of this feels like a training routine for Charleston.
Well, there's always an opportunity to get better at playing against a low block, no matter who your opponent is. When you force a team in your possession to be in this low block, there's so many different types of manipulations, how to rotate into certain spaces, when to dribble versus when to combine. All those things are something you have to know even going into USL Championship League play. So this is something they'll continue to try to grow in this game.
Charleston is really relishing the opportunity in this game to just have more game time. The roster churned so much from last year to this year. Had a good chat with Ben Peterman about that. Really said it was just a perfect storm as far as what he and the staff view as a 3-year cycle in a very transient league. In the USL Championship, they were at the end of a 3-year cycle. Last year, that 3-year cycle saw them make it to the USL Championship final in 2023. Last year, they were bounced well earlier than they would have hoped in the playoffs. And in 2024, a deep run. This one played all the way through. Chance for Ikaza. Blocked. Still loose in front. Deflected up over the bar and out for a corner.
Great commitment defensively to block shots. And this time, Badgers were alert to the second opportunity as well. Again, the wide spaces are where the Battery are finding success. It's played across, goes right to Emilio Ikaza. Great block, 2 defenders committed to it. And then look at the second opportunity right in front of Bartolome in the goalkeeping. The defender blocks it over the top.
Dave Don sliding in for the block. Back to that point about the Battery, just it was a perfect storm. So more than 50% of the roster new this year, and so much of that pertaining to core guys. Aaron Malloy, 4 straight years USL Championship first team. He's gone from the corner. Badgers hold strong. So there's a lot of new pieces that need to integrate and gel and mesh for Charleston. They currently have 2 players missing due to injury. That gives them 15 players signed to a first-team contract here with the senior team at the Battery. It's a very low number. It can't really withstand a lot of midweek weekend fixtures. It can't withstand hardly any injuries. So for Ben Pierman, it's a lot of just sort of putting things together and keeping things together in the early going of the season until they hope to and will be adding in the coming weeks. A lot of USL teams will do that this time of year. Who might shake free from MLS rosters, who might shake free elsewhere. European season's coming to a close in the coming weeks, so they keep their options open going into May and into June. Charleston has certainly done that this year as part of their recycle after the last 3-year cycle.
Well, as a coach, that can be incredibly interesting, too, to figure out, okay, we have an identity as a club, we have a lot of history, but when you have the turnover you have, what are the different nuances of your identity? You can still keep the core the same, but players can change that at times with just their player profiles and who they bring in. So that's something you figure out through those first few weeks of a season and as you continue to play together.
It's interesting tonight, just in the starting lineup for Charleston. If you, as a USL Championship fan, looked at this roster, all recognizable names and a very proper starting 11. But within that, the fact that they only have 15 first-team signed players, this actually isn't a full-strength 11 for Charleston. Look at their bench tonight. Joey Appanonu, Laurent Kisiedu, Jeremy Kelly, Miguel Berry coming over from the LA Galaxy. Some of their quote-unquote big guns that are going to be week-in, week-out starters are on the bench tonight. So while it's also a completely new team for Ben Pierman, and they do have to put things together, it is a very stacked team still. They just have to put the pieces all together.
It's certainly figuring out units, who plays well together, and all those types of questions.
Messer, one of the under-the-radar pickups of the offseason. 6 goals, 6 assists last year with Portland Hearts of Pine in their inaugural USL League One season. Messer actually was part of Vermont Green prior to that, but he was not part of the Vermont Green team that won a game in Open Cup back in 2024. So I wonder if he was watching last night. I'm sure he was with Vermont Green against Portland Hearts of Pine.
He was getting inspiration before his game, right?
That's become one of my favorite traditions in Open Cup from Vermont Green, taking a shot of maple syrup after victories.
Love that.
I'm all in on that. Flag comes up. I'm sure Buddy the Elf would be too.
Certainly.
30 minutes come and gone in this opening round matchup between the Charleston Battery of USL Championship and the amateur qualifiers Florida Badgers FC. Happy to have you with us on YouTube with Casey White. I'm Joe Malfa. Right around now, elsewhere around the country, should be 3 more games that have just or are just kicking off. Fully stacked night tonight, 15 total games.
It was really good build-up play there from Badgers FC, trying to play in the wide channels. They were playing pretty much man-for-man, player-for-player was Charleston Battery trying to press in that moment, end up drawing the foul. What we're seeing is that they are trying to build out of the back, but it can be really difficult against this pressing shape that Charleston Battery has.
Bartelmi sends it long. Still looking for their first shot attempt. Badgers, possession about 75-25. I mean, there's no sugarcoating the stats and what your eyes tell you. This was the expectation coming into the night. We see it time and again in this tournament, but you're just hoping if you're Badgers for that counter. We've seen it in years past with El Farolito, who you'll see again tonight against the Sacramento Republic. Their games look similar to this, where they're sitting back. They have maybe 20-30% possession, but it's that one counter, it's that one set piece, and that's what Badgers are still hoping for. Just haven't found any success over midfield. And now maybe more coming for Charleston. Blackstock cuts it back, headed away by Sirius.
Well, there's a mental strength that comes with that as well, Joe, that you bring up, that they just play for that one opportunity to go forward, keep the game really close as possible. They'll be a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, that they gave up that early goal, but if they can keep it close, then you know maybe one foul, crazier things have happened. Right. Stats don't always tell the entire story, and that's what they're hoping for.
That last opportunity there, the ball played into Rudolph Jean. Did not track it down. Gelb was wide open on the near side. Could have been a 4-on-3 for Badgers. Those are the moments you have to capitalize on. You're not going to get too many of them. Smith. Blackstock. Landry. Chips back through for Blackstock. Blocked again. That's been a theme here for Badgers. Getting in the way of a lot of those crosses or shots in the box.
Well, one of the things we're seeing, too, is that the wingers for Charleston are pinching in and trying to pin the outside center backs, make it a 3v3 alongside Colton Swan. It allows for Blackstock to get forward, for Messer to get forward, but it's really combative and tight in that area. The blocks have been great, but you have to wonder, as fatigue can set in as the game goes, the timing has to be perfect on those, or there could be fouls in the penalty area as well. So I love the industriousness of what Badgers FC is doing, but the timing has to stay correct.
Oh, nice move to the midfield. 3-on-3. These are the moments you have to capitalize. Over the top for Gelb. Lining it up, Gelb. And the moment gone.
But that change of point is a lot better when they're shifting over the Charleston battery. You're looking for that. You're just seeing a technical breakdown in that moment, but the recognition there better on that counterattack.
Sean Suber back and forth with Graham Smith on that back line, and Sue Landry coming back to help them. It's a really good triangle at the back there defensively for Charleston. My opinion clearly doesn't matter, but if you ask me, it should be the last two defenders of the year in USL Championship as the two center backs here. No offense to Kyle Adams, if you're watching, you're probably not, because Louisville's got a game tonight, but I think Sean Suber was slighted last year to not win that award over Kyle Adams, but
and your
in
opinion does matter, Joe.
To some people, not my wife's, but you know, to some people's. Sean Suber, a finalist for Defender of the Year last year. He was first team All-League. Graham Smith, as I mentioned earlier, Defender of the Year in 2024 and first team All-League for a Battery team that had a bit of a revolving door at center back last year. Seems like they have a very easy decision so long as Smith and Suber are healthy, and it'll be those two week in, week out.
And ultimately, you have to be good defensively, which both of them are, but I always think games like this really separate great center backs in the attack as well.
Cabrera. Heavy touch from Ikaza. Wilmer Cabrera coming over from El Paso, where he played for his father. Breakout season last year for Wilmer Cabrera. 10 goals, 4 assists. Easily the best season of his young career to date. Turned 26 in July. Just about set to enter his prime, and doing so now with one of the top clubs in the USL Championship. I mentioned Louisville City in jest a moment ago with Kyle Adams, Sean Suber debate for Defender of the Year last year. Louisville's been the team that Charleston has been chasing year in, year out, and big news in the USL Championship that Danny Cruz left his position as the head coach. Something else we chatted about with Ben Pearman ahead of this game. That's been the team, and that's been the coach that he's been chasing and the club has been chasing. And now maybe the door's open for Charleston to ascend to the top spot in the Eastern Conference this year if they put things together. That's in the regular season, at least. In the postseason, it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds that have the trophy in the cabinet and the star above the crest.
When so often we see that, it's very hard to have a great regular season and a great playoff run.
Charleston last year had a great regular season, finished second to Louisville, who had a record-setting season. A free kick on the way. And then the #1 seed Louisville, the #2 seed Charleston, they both lost in the first round of the playoffs, and that opened the door for Pittsburgh. Charleston's season was so good last year that it would have set or come close to setting a number of records in USL Championship, if not for Louisville. And that was always sort of the conversation with Ben Pearman all season long. I asked him directly last September, I was like, how do you mentally gauge this season? Because you've set every club record, but you're not even in first place or even close to it. And he's like, yeah, you know, over a drink, we can maybe talk a bit deeper about it, but it is frustrating, man. Like, it is tough.
We can talk so much about just focusing on your own team, but rivalries are important for sports, and it keeps you motivated.
Looking to tack on here from the free kick. Punched away by Bartelme. And it was off the head, it looked like, of Suber last, out for a goal kick. One of the greatest rivalries in women's international soccer is coming to Seattle. The U.S. women's national team returns to Lumen Field for the first time in nearly a decade, facing Japan on Tuesday, April 14th. World Cup finals, Olympic thrillers, iconic moments. Plenty of those between those two teams. The rivalry has delivered it all, and now it's coming to the Pacific Northwest. Tickets, you can get them at ussoccer.com/tickets.
It's giving me 2015 Carly Lloyd hat trick vibes. Nice little memories of that World Cup final.
Well, and for the Japanese fans, if you want to appease both sides of the crowd, you can go back to the 2011 World Cup.
You can't ask the former U.S. women's national team player to appease those fans. Come on, I gotta have a little bias here.
I gotta play it down the middle.
Not in the game that's going on.
Gotta play devil's advocate.
Not in the game that's going on. I'm not, but that one I will.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. Well, you were all perked up when I said Charlotte earlier for the U.S. men's national team game. You mentioned North Carolina around you, and all of a sudden.
That is true. That is true. I'll give you that.
7 to go in this first half. Still just the one for Charleston. Been pounding on the door. 10 shots, only one on target being the goal. Messer. So much of this. Players going to ground in the area, blocking passes, blocking crosses, blocking shots for Badgers.
There's a great commitment in the defensive box from the Badgers to step in, block shots, and there's cover in those outside channels. I'd like to see the Battery get more in the pockets behind the holding midfielders. I think that's where they can draw players out too.
Cabrera, Aaron Ball. One score change elsewhere. Chattanooga now up 2-1 on Kalanji. Amateur side scored first there, but Chattanooga 2 unanswered. That one was over the line and out for a corner kick for Charleston. Player still down back behind the ball though for Badgers.
Well, this is just a pressing shape from the Charleston Battery. You'll see Messer's left foot go in. It didn't look from that angle like much contact there, as Delisco did go down in that moment, but there might have been a little bit with the trailing leg there. Messer just stepping in those pressing moments, trying to keep them locked in.
Still down, Benz Delisca. Been physical at times in this first half, but mostly in the direction of Badgers. 13 tackles, 8 fouls on the Badger side. That was just the 4th tackle that Charleston has gone into. And I point that out because, as you talked about earlier, in these games, for the amateur side, it's about being physical, about trying to throw the pro side off their game a little bit. We've seen this sacrifice on some of the block shots and block crosses, so they've been putting everything on the line, Badgers. Now another corner to defend. 8th corner for Charleston. Messer comes all the way to receive this one. Kaza. Chested down, volleyed over the bar.
It was good recognition on the short corner kick because they only send one Badgers FC to defend. You're supposed to send 2 in those moments to create a 2v2. It just comes too late. Ball played to the backside. Some good composure, recognizing that Cabrera was going to come from the midfield. I like the composure from him to take the touch, just doesn't let it drop quite enough to be able to get it on frame.
Cabrera's felt a little bit off tonight. Some of his crosses, some of his shots. But this is what this game in some ways for Charleston is for, barring what would be a colossal cup set and one of probably the biggest on the board between last night, tonight, and tomorrow. 25th appearance in this tournament for Charleston, first for Badgers. Amateur side that pulled off upsets in qualifying against one of the top teams in the USL Championship. That lends itself to tonight being, in many ways, another preseason game of sorts for Charleston, where you can work on these things, where a player like Wilmer Cabrera can tighten things up a little bit. Hasn't quite done so through 42 minutes, Cabrera.
It's very tight in those central areas, and sometimes he's looked a little bit too composed. It's the players that have either moved the ball quickly or have dribbled at pace that have been more successful in this game. I love the composure of his game, but when you're playing against a low block, sometimes you got to speed it up a little bit.
Another chance here. Diving header effort from Emilio Icaza. He gets an E for effort.
Well, if you're Badgers FC right now, I think the focus has to be about getting into halftime at this 1-0 score line, because you can get into halftime, you can see how your players are feeling, get a little rest, talk about a couple things, but also your confidence grows a little bit. On the flip side, Charleston Battery, I'd be saying, go, get the second goal. Let's put this away as early as possible.
I don't think they're going to want to stop if that second one comes. This is a night
Definitely.
where they can run it up and can really get the confidence brimming.
Scoring goals never feels bad. It never gets old. So you're right. They'll definitely want to keep trying to have those attacking sequences.
Messer, step over, feeding it through, flicked on. Turn from Foster, but right into the traffic. Charleston from here will host Birmingham on the weekend in USL Championship.
Good recovery from Langston Blackstock there, just a missed touch. That's where the Badgers are going to try to capitalize.
There as well as Messer to come all the way back to win that ball. Numbers flooding forward here for Badgers. They steal something late in this first half. Or can Charleston break out of it? Now with the extra space, handball against Badgers, and one that they're not going to be mad about. If not for that handball, that could have been a 2-on-1 and a lot of open space.
That's the risk that happens when the Badgers FC group starts to go forward, because there's so much space exposed behind the back line. And I think a little lucky not to get a yellow card after picking up the ball and slowing down the attack, because you could tell that the Charleston Battery players wanted to get it down and playing quick.
That's why sometimes in these games when that first goal goes in, that's why you expect more to come. Badgers are going to have to take chances like that and flood numbers forward.
Correct.
More often they do. At some point, more often than not, maybe, Charleston is going to punish them for it the other way. Messer, closing seconds of this first half. There's plenty of space there to be had for Colton Swan. Looked like a misread on the flight of that ball. Kept in for Blackstock. 2 minutes of stoppage time coming. Blackstock to the back post. Bartelme with it.
Well, what we're seeing is that Malik Foster's coming in a more inverted area on that right side. So when that cross comes in, it's really for Langston Blackstock to be up there, but he was just doing defending on the opposite side and it went quickly. So just a variation of runs in the box. Those little margins can be the difference in getting that second goal.
Lack of efficiency for sure right now for Charleston. 12 shots, 1 on target. And it's not like they're just heaving shots from wherever. No. 11 of their 12 shots have come from inside the 18-yard box. To have 11 shots in the 18 and only 1 on target, that's something that Ben Pierman might circle if he looks at the stats at halftime and say, it's got to be better, boys.
I think so, too. And he can give a little credit to some of the block shots as well from keeping them from going on frame. But you're right, there has to be more efficiency. You have to play with the percentages of where you're choosing to go for your types of finishes inside the penalty area.
Maybe yellow here. Very intentional foul that seemed on Sean Suber. If not, it's a very lenient decision from Diego Dos Santos.
Well, I think both teams could each have a yellow now. He let the other one go of intervening with a quick free kick, then that one where there was space to exploit behind the back line, and an obvious intervention from Suber.
Set piece for Florida Badgers FC. Oh, they go short. Referee hadn't blown the whistle, and that might be a saving grace for Badgers. Wouldn't you love to get a ball into the box here and hope for something?
100%, and they did just change players on the ball as well. I would absolutely get this service into the penalty area.
There is the service. Brief shout for a handball. It didn't seem to be anything. 2 minutes of stoppage come and gone, and the Charleston Battery take a 1-0 lead into the break.
Well, I think for the Charleston Battery, it's what they expect, but they're going to want to put more efficiency in the final third, get more opportunities, stay disciplined if you're the Florida Badgers. You want to try to make it as frustrating as possible.
Well, Charleston hoping to continue their dominance over amateur sides in Open Cup. All-time a record of 15-1-1 so far on their way, but a very slim margin. Battery 1, Badgers nothing. More to come from Patriots Point.
Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Sliding through, it's a chance for Antti. It's Gio Reyna across goal. Balogun! The way opens up for Alex Freeman. Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance.
I think for this group, our path to the final was one of resilience. This group has this belief in themselves and this idea that we've seen it all before in this tournament. We've gone through basically every scenario that you can, and there's just this belief that we're ready to roll with whatever comes our way.
The dream of a cup set still within reach for Florida Badgers FC. They got to the break down just one against the Charleston Battery, and they came on with a couple of forays forward late in that first half. Can they parlay that into more in half number two? Before we go forward, we take a look back at highlights from half number one. A half that was statistically dominated by Charleston. Every highlight you see will be down at this one end of the field.
Well, most of the time it was in this wide channel. Messer was able to get forward quite often. This is the first opportunity they had where it'll look familiar to what we're going to see a little bit later, where this crosses into the box. There's a second chance opportunity. Again, it's Messer that's playing in the wide channel off the corner, played to the back post area, and then Colton Swan coming through. It's a poacher's goal with his head, being able to put it away.
And that was actually the only shot on target of the half for Charleston. That's part of the problem. 12 shots, only that one on target. Plenty of opportunities to have tacked on, but a lot of this from Badgers, getting in the way, blocking, double block right there. Look, it's a lot of zeros on the one side for Florida. They have to pick it up in the attack, but they have kept Charleston at bay. They
have, and a lot of it has been the block shots and just the industriousness, the commitment in front of goal. The possession may not get much better than what we're seeing with the 28%, but they have to figure out a way to get a few set pieces, a few shots on target if they're going to make this a game versus Charleston.
And the possession being what it is, again, we referenced it in the first half. El Farolito, the darlings of this tournament the last couple of years, those amateur sides, you could live with 20 to 30% possession if you are countering and creating opportunities when you do have the ball. That's been the part for Badgers that hasn't come yet. They've had opportunities where they could have broken out. They had numbers, but the pass went to the wrong guy, or the pass came a little bit late. So it's a matter of actually converting when one of those opportunities materializes. Charleston left to right in the black. Badgers right to left in the orange. While we are at halftime, if you were bouncing around, you might have seen elsewhere some of the action going on in Open Cup. Cup sets could be brewing after seeing just one yesterday. Could we see more today? It's 1-1 at halftime between Asheville City and Greenville. That's the one to keep an eye on right now. As well as Vistula Garfield up 1-0 in the second minute on 1 Knoxville. So a couple of possible cup sets elsewhere to keep an eye on. We'll see if Badgers can find some magic and battle back from a goal down here with Casey White. I'm Joe Malfa, glad to have you with us on YouTube.
Well, one of the things you were saying was just about the defensive structure of teams, the lower seeded teams in the U.S. Open Cup. A lot of times the teams that really come out and push, they can be played through and picked through. So the ones that can balance defensive structure, but then knowing when and how to counterattack efficiently, those are the ones that we see have a lot of success. So for the Badgers FC, they've still got to keep their defensive shape. They have to figure out how do they make Charleston uncomfortable running towards their own goal.
Blackstock switches it right back the other way. Ambrose. Might be the most sequential possession Badgers have had. Of course, I say that, they give it away, but it's a positive sign beginning this second half here for Florida Badgers.
It is, and they went from one side to the other side, so that initially gets you more space, more ability to play forward. I'm also kind of noticing that from the Charleston Battery. They don't seem to be overly pressing in those channels. I wonder if they want them to get a little bit higher up the field so they can take advantage behind. Well, we won't know unless we watch it for a couple more minutes.
In behind now for Landry. He's cleared out awkwardly, but the ball was already gone. So no penalty, just a corner on the way for Charleston.
That's the space that I think they want to exploit as they get the Badgers FC backline a little bit higher, turn that into those more direct balls. Direct with purpose, not just playing it forward for sake of playing it forward, but trying to find those runners through the central channels.
Husu Landry, holding mid by nature, he's not afraid to make those runs if the moment and the space are there out of the midfield. Did score 4 goals last year in his first year with the club. The 9th corner now for Charleston. Free kick on the way now for the Battery. Major advantage for Charleston on these set pieces in terms of the size, but they've only turned in the one so far. It's off of Pahomov. Barthelemy decided to keep it in play. He tried to, at least. It didn't matter. It was out for a goal kick.
He wasn't going to take any chances on that one, not knowing probably who it came off of. But so we'll just see. Now they're starting to press a little higher. It was Cabrera that was lower before, and that gave the Badgers FC team the ability to play out of the back.
Turned over by Ambrose. Kill for Rocher. Space in behind here. Altidore, who scored in their qualifying campaign. Altidore gives it off of last corner coming for the Badgers.
Well, I like that from Altidore because he looks to take on in the 1v1. He finds the corner kick. These are the little margins that they need. They need to be able to force a few little mistakes, maybe have a set piece. Now it's about the service, the trajectory, putting in this into the 6-yard box just to test the back line.
First corner for Badgers. That was only their second time into the opposing 18-yard box. From the corner. Fell right at the edge of the 6. Graham Smith got a thigh on it. Wasn't convincing, but worked away by Charleston. Now in behind, flag stays down. A chance for Malik Foster if he can settle. His touch takes him wide. Help arrives in the form of Swan, who has the match's lone goal. Swan tracks it down. Cabrera. One touch from Foster. I had not guided him as wide. He was in alone on the keeper, Barthelemy.
Well, and that's the risk versus reward piece of the Badgers going forward, getting the corner kick, but then there's that breaking out speed of Malik Foster to get in. Good recovery, though, from players that were tracking back.
Still looking to see when Charleston may dip into the bench. A few of their heavy hitters and expected regular starters are available. That includes up top an option in Miguel Berry, coming over from the Los Angeles Galaxy in MLS. Jeremy Kelly as well has been an all-league player in this league in the midfield. And Laurent Kisiedu. Shimil again, Caston getting ready to sub on for Badgers. Told it'll be for Ethan Gelb. Wait and confirm.
Well, when this methodical attacking approach happens, a lot of times even the Badgers FC team has 6 along the back line at times. It covers the width so much. So you have to figure out a way to make this back group make decisions that come out. Usually that's done through dribble penetration or a breaking ball or breaking line pass into a player and back. So just continuing to probe, move the ball quickly is important.
And back to Graham Smith. Oh, is John Berner going to touch? No. I thought they might go back to John Berner. I don't think he's touched the ball yet. And Foster's offside. I'm trying to think about it now. Has he touched the ball yet at all?
I think he did once in the first half. They played out through the back one time. I kind of remember a triangle that they formed to play.
The fact that you're saying kind of remember sort of gives you a glimpse at where this game has been played and hasn't been played. We have not had to say John Berner's name.
No, we have not. I don't think you said his name, to be fair, when he did touch it.
And it is Ethan Gelb coming off as expected for Shimilgen Caston. Worked through Wilmer Cabrera. would have been a good moment for him. Just going ahead and endearing himself to this Charleston crowd. New acquisition. Had plenty of chances in the first half.
Well, starting the line of confrontation a little higher. Good pressing moment. Great first touch from Cabrera because the pass from Makaza was a little bit behind him. He brings it forward, narrowly misses at the back post, gets his hips around it a little bit too much. But I like what the Charleston Battery are doing. They're letting Badgers FC team play out a little bit, but then they're converging about 30 yards out from goal, trying to turn them over and go in possession.
I looked at the official stats. It says John Murner has 10 touches. I think the stats are lying.
Unless they went back and forth a couple times in the same play. I don't know. But I don't think it was that often.
Or unless we're counting goal kicks as a touch as well, which I guess technically might count.
Yeah, true. True.
All right.
We're going to have to confirm that.
He has not touched the ball 10 times in the open run of play. That is for sure. Swan. Foster. Landry. 10th row. Minutes into this second half. Badgers have shown better. Seen more of the ball. Now Charleston seem to be flexing their muscles again. Going forward with some menace. Swan, Landry, referee almost set the pick. Out the backside, Cabrera calling for it centrally, settles, dancing through, and cleared by Remy. A slip and a fall from Altidore. It's bailed out by Remy.
While I like the change of the Florida Badgers trying to get forward a little bit more, it is a little bit early and we're starting to see some spaces in behind. Charleston has not made the most of those opportunities, but it looks a little bit riskier. And I think it's still a little bit early to do too much risk because you're keeping it at 1-0. Usually you're starting that a little bit later, but you can't fault them for the attitude of wanting to go forward and go after it.
Taking a glimpse at the scoreboard, nothing has changed elsewhere significantly. Vistula still the lone amateur side leading their pro side, up 1-0 at home in Garfield, New Jersey over 1 Knoxville. Chattanooga, 5 minutes remaining, up 2-1 on Kalanji Pro, who were nearly in question for the first cup set of the night. Scored first in that game, a goal by a 14-year-old academy kid playing up at Open Cup. A moment he'll never forget. And if you haven't seen the goal, go take a peek. It was just a teardrop of a looping volley from outside the 18 that just got over the keeper under the bar. Brilliant finish. From there, Chattanooga rallied the MLS Next Pro side, took a 2-1 lead, and have rode that the whole way. Halftime between Asheville and Greenville, it's 1-1. Asheville City, one of the bright sides of USL League 2. Greenville Triumph, one of the standard bearers of USL League 1 over the years. Naples of USL League 1 up 2-0 on Red Force. Amateur side, Louisville City FC, a dominant start, up 2-0 early on Southern Indiana. It's just Vistula of Garfield, up 1-0 on 1 Knoxville for a cup set bid to this point. 8 games going on right now, still 7 more to kick off tonight. A 15-game day in Lamar Hunt US Open Cup.
We're seeing Charleston go in the outside channel. I'd like to see them combine a little bit more centrally when they can because they have an overload 3 against 2 in midfield with the Florida Badgers playing in that 5-2-3 system. So it might be another area they can try to take advantage of to draw the center backs out.
Landry. Pahomov. They have very high hopes for Kirill Pahomov, two-time NAIA All-American before he went to Marshall last year and started every game for Marshall last season. In the holding mid, scored 1 goal. He was a preseason invite this year for Charleston and earned himself a full-time contract from that. Into space, Altidore, flag stays down. Dave Altidore, step over, goes for a goal. There's the first save for John Berner. First shot, first on target on the other side for Badgers. So something to hang their hat on as we tick toward the hour mark.
Great change of point to spring Altidore in the outside channel. Recovering player to defend, but he does a good job to find that little window of space before Wilmer Cabrera can come in. But certainly that's something that they can build a little bit on and say, hey, let's look at the opposite side channel. When Blackstock is high, when Messer's high on the opposite side, can we get another opportunity on the change of point?
The point you made earlier, just keeping it 1-0. And not opening up yet for Badgers, it gives chances like that more credence, where if you score, you're tied. That could change though right here, the header over the bar. Again, in the middle, it was Swan.
Well, that's how quickly that they can go the other direction, Charleston. They get into the wide space. Not everyone's set. The tracking of runs doesn't happen on the back post. He peels away from the backside defender in that moment. It's Don that's marking his eyes on the ball, and he loses track. Well, there's no real reason for Charleston to go too quickly. They're the team that's up 1-0, so while you're trying to get the second goal, they can be patient.
Could it come here? No, blocked by Roche. Beyond the hour mark now. Glad to have you with us alongside Casey White. I'm Joe Malfa. First round Open Cup action. Charleston Battery, Florida Badgers FC. Charleston 25th Open Cup appearance. They're 15-1-1 against amateur sides. Made it all the way to the final in 2008, losing to DC United. For the Badgers, I'd give you their Open Cup history, but you're watching it. This is their first ever Open Cup appearance in just their second year of existence as a club. Edge of the area, contact. Free kick for Charleston. Should have been a brief shout for a penalty, but he was coming out of the area and was outside the area, Wilmer Cabrera. Yellow card shown, first yellow card of the match.
Cabrera's starting to float into some different spaces. He really technically started as a left winger in this system, although he played inverted. Now he's floating in front of that back line, is trying to get into some different spaces to make things happen.
Dave Don picks up the yellow card for Badgers.
Cabrera gets this direct change of points, and nice first touch to bring it down. He has all the control because of this, cuts against the grain. An obvious foul outside the box, as you mentioned earlier. Out of all the things we've seen, I'm surprised that's a yellow card, I'll be quite honest with you.
I'm with you, yeah.
But it is an obvious foul, and now it's at a point where you've got the left foot of Messer to take this. That can go on frame, trying to go up and over into that near post area, or he can slide it in if they're not marking correctly at the back post.
I don't know if that would have been, on my scorecard at least, top 5 fouls that
completely agree.
Gotten a yellow in this game, actually. Oh, referee let him play at least, both ways. Four in the wall. Will Messer try and test Barthelemy at the near post? Can he sneak it by? Is it a service? Messer, well, he sort of split the difference. He didn't come near post. He went right down the middle and over the bar.
Well, it's not a good effort there from Messer. And the wall was set pretty much how it should have been, but they had one of their shortest players on the inside of the wall. So he could have used that to go up and over the wall where Barthelemy wouldn't have seen it if it had been more accurate into that near post.
Substitutions coming. Get them your way momentarily. on both sides here. 4 coming on the side of Charleston. Ricanel Cherie into the match for Badgers. Sean Suber, Nathan Messer coming off. Joey Apinonu, Jeremy Kelly coming on, as is Laurent Kisiedu. He'll replace Wilmer Cabrera. So for Charleston, it's Jeremy Kelly for Wilmer Cabrera, Laurent Kisiedu for Malik Foster, Miguel Berry for Nate Messer, and lastly Jeremy Kelly for Joey Apinonu for Sean Suber. And on the side of Badgers, it is Ricanel Cherie in for Curlins Artur. Dave Don. Edge of the area, out the door, going for goal. Oh, he ties it! Badgers strike back, it's level!
Well, this is what can happen. You get one chance, you get into that outside channel. There's a little bit of space, and you give someone opportunity just to be able to strike the perfect ball, and that's exactly what Altidore does in this moment. It was well left into the wide channel area, looking on to take in the isolation 1v1, instead finding Altidore, and he goes to curl this outside the post. It's technically perfect just as it goes past Burner into that side netting.
You mentioned it earlier, Casey. You just have to keep it at 1 for Charleston. Sure, the temptation is there to open up to try to get that equalizing goal, but you still had time on your side. It's not like it was the 80th minute and you had to press. They've been patient. They found their moment. And now Badgers can, if they so choose, collapse back into that low block, keep it 1-1, and who knows how long they could take it and what can happen next.
There's a thin line between being composed as the Charleston Battery or being a bit uninspired in the way they press or the way they were attacking. I felt like it slowed down quite a bit. It wasn't void of opportunities just because of the talent level and their ability to go over the top, but it just wasn't as intentional as we saw in the first half. That has allowed Florida Badgers to hang around a little bit, and they were smart in the way they did it. I thought they were pressing a little bit too much early, but these last 5 to 10 minutes, they've been a little bit more structured defensively to allow for that attacking opportunity.
Did they also catch them at the right time, Badgers, amid 4 changes all at once for Charleston? Can they get the goal right back? Oh, in behind, Kisiedu and Swan and Kelly all involved. The flag did come up.
I do think the changes were needed from an energy level perspective. I just felt like it was a little lackluster there in the middle of the second half. But you're right, as soon as that was happening and finding your positioning and exactly where you need to be from a defensive standpoint, they were certainly caught off guard. And we have to also say, it was a very nice finish.
Yeah.
You could get that little margin and hit it completely. Altidore does nothing of the sort, hits it perfectly.
U.S. women's national team will conclude its 3-match series against Japan on Friday, April 17th in Commerce City, Colorado, featuring the 2 She Believes Cup champions. This top 10 matchup takes place on a special Hello Kitty themed night at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Secure your tickets today at ussoccer.com/tickets. Numbers flooding forward now for Charleston. Trying to go back ahead. Just over 20 minutes remaining. We're tied. It's a moment that Altidore will never forget. Part of what makes this cup so special. Just the second shot on target of the night for Badgers. Pahomov spreads it wide. Kelly worked through, holding strong Badgers for now. Oh, can Altidore go and run here? Apononu closes back down. Kisiedu. Pahomov. Good ball from Pahomov. Chested down. A slip in, a fall. In the middle of it all for Miguel Berry.
You can see the vision, though, of that ball from Pahomov. They're looking at the back post channel, and he knows that he has to float it up a little bit to bypass the defenders. The defenders of Badgers FC are coming so strong side. That little clip ball could be really efficient as they go through the last 20 minutes.
Miguel Berry did not score last season in MLS, a more diminished role with the LA Galaxy. 17 games played, 7 starts, 2 assists. In his time in MLS, 13 goals in 123 games. Spent 3 years in Columbus, 1 in DC, 1 in Atlanta, 2 in LA. From Barcelona, will turn 29 in September. Player down at the moment for Badgers. 20 to play. All of a sudden, if you're Charleston, you start thinking of extra time and how you do not want that, because you have a game on the weekend against Birmingham. You are the pro side here. You've dominated this game, but you only have 20 minutes now to go ahead and get a goal.
This is where the clock feels like it's starting to work against you as you enter the 71st minute, and you're thinking, oh, we had all this time to extend the lead, and now Badgers FC not only are back in it, but they have the confidence to go with it. So now it's really for Badgers FC about using that confidence, but also not going into reckless challenges, different things like that, and making sure they stay in their defensive shape, because I would assume Charleston is going to start to press a little bit higher. Both shots
on target for the Badgers came from Dave Altidore. The first one, he tried to do what he did.
Correct.
On the second one. You could see his body positioning, the way he tried to curl the ball, just didn't catch it clean. It was an easy save for John Berner. He didn't make that same mistake twice. Second time, one of the goals of the night that you'll see around Open Cup to tie this game at 1. Ikaza.
That's good dribble penetration, though, and then moving it quickly. And it's not always going to work the first time, the second time maybe even, but you continue to do that. It makes the defender want to bite and step out. That's when the space opens up behind.
Pahomov. Worked through for Kelly. Bartelme takes it. Jeremy Kelly up on that top line right now. 27-year-old went to North Carolina from Chapel Hill. 1 goal in 11 games last year. He was signed in late June, debuted for the Battery in July. His return to the United States, coming over from Crawley Town. Spent 2024 in England's 4th division, helped them gain promotion to the 3rd division. And at the end of that season in the 3rd division, that's when he came over to Charleston. No stranger, Jeremy Kelly, to the USL Championship or to Ben Pierman. Played for Ben Pierman in Memphis before he went abroad. Similar story for Laurent Kisiedu, who also subbed in that quadruple sub. Played on that 2022 Memphis team with Jeremy Kelly under Ben Pierman. Last year, spent in Czechia. Now Kisiedu comes back stateside permanently. He was back in the U.S. on loan to Detroit City in 2024. Went back to Czechia for another whole year. And now back in Charleston. 4 players brought in by the Battery. 4 players who are on a given day starters for the Battery in what is their, I suppose, perceived strongest possible 11 this early juncture of the season. After those 4 came on, it's when the goal was conceded. Now can those 4 help get it back and maybe then some for Charleston to breathe a bit easier here and avoid extra time? It'd be calamitous for the Battery if on a night where against an amateur side you expect to win and win handily, you have to play an extra 30 minutes with a league match on the weekend.
Well, we just have to give credit to Badgers FC of just kind of staying in that backline shape and making Charleston really dictate play with how they move the ball. Just the intentionality of the dribble, moving the ball quickly. They almost have to hope for a player just to step and be a little bit too aggressive and then take advantage in the pockets.
One of my favorite parts about having these games on YouTube in this opening round, whenever anybody senses a cup set might be on the horizon, you see the viewership number jump. So we want to welcome those of you who might have flipped over after you got the alert. Badgers tied it at 1 with 15 minutes to go with Casey White. I'm Joe Malfa. The goal for Charleston came back in the 21st minute, Colton Swan, and then Dave Altidore for the Badgers tied it in the 66th minute. Believe it or not, as many opportunities as the Battery have had in this game and 16 shots, only 1 on target. Badgers, 2 shots, 2 on target. So the Badgers actually have more shots on target in this game than the Charleston Battery do.
Well, people do love drama, so that might account for the viewership increase we're seeing,
Open
Joe.
Cup has plenty of it, and we might be seeing some of it here. And Casey, coming into the night, this is probably not the game many would have circled to be the dramatic possible cup set. On paper, this was the most David versus Goliath matchup of the day. A first ever appearance in Open Cup for Badgers, a 25th for the Battery, one of the top teams in USL Championship against an amateur side, and the pro side is the home team. Everything you'd look for in a possible cup set was not there, and now all of a sudden it may be.
Well, it's just that final link, that final pass. Charleston is doing well to move the ball, and they're creating where there's an opportunity for 2v1s in the wide channel, but the final connection piece, whether it's the pass or whether it's the finish in the final third, that's what's been eluding them.
Blackstock centers, cleared by Sirius.
Love that direct change of point, though, and then the quick early service from Blackstock, but really nice defending. And now fatigue we're seeing starting to set in. Fatigue, gamesmanship, making sure the game goes a little bit longer, depending on how you look at it. Probably depends on what team you support. But there's been a lot of work. That's not to take away from how much defending this group has had to do against Charleston.
I think it might be the latter, the gamesmanship word you used there. Watch the right side of your screen. Dave Altidore looking around, and
he's like, I scored a great goal. Let me do some defensive work here. As much as this can click away at the clock, it can also motivate the opposition to go, wait a second here. And because sometimes you just need to get a little angry or a little bit upset and go, okay, like we've got to get going. It feels very composed from Charleston, which you'd expect from a professional organization with so much history and with so much success. But sometimes you just got to grind it out and you got to get a little mad. You got to get after it. And maybe something like this actually is more of a catalyst for the Battery.
To that point, maybe reality sets in. Maybe seeing this, it sort of piques the interest of Charleston, and oh, wait a minute, they're time wasting. Oh, wait, there's only 12 minutes left. Oh, wait, we might have to play another 30 minutes if we don't find a way. Just that reality starts to seep in, and it just drives you on a little bit more.
And also, Ben Pierman has a chance to talk to some of his players, and there might be some instructions, shall we say, given to them, maybe some motivation of how to approach this last 12.
Probably words we can't say on air either. Well, for the time being, Badgers down a player as Altidore is off to the side, receiving some treatment. 12 minutes remaining. Apanonu. Blackstock whips it in. Corner for the Battery.
Great ball by Blackstock. And you can tell they're wanting to do this direct change of point, early cross, get Badgers FC facing their own goal. When there's fatigue setting in, that could be a deflection, an own goal, something going into the penalty area.
Kelly from the corner, good service. The header saved off the line. Lutsen Remy helping out his goalkeeper, denying Apononu a certain goal.
Well, this is wonderful at the back post. Apononu just stays there, reads the service of the ball, cleared off the line, just reaction save. Right place, right time to get it over.
And swinger this time from Kelly, dangerous, a lot of traffic in front. Badgers find a way. Can they break out now? Farisa's play on. Something back to check on. Dave Altidore clearly seemed to be fouled, and not just fouled, one of those that probably should have been a yellow for stopping the transition. Referee just missed it.
And I think there may have been a thought of an advantage going forward, but there were too many players behind the ball by time any additional players got on it that weren't Altidore. And so I'm a little surprised that wasn't called.
Players are starting to bicker now. A little shoving going on. The intensity and the, I suppose, vitriol that you didn't necessarily see coming in this game, but that's what competition does with 10 minutes to go in a 1-1 game in Open Cup.
The temperature has definitely gone up since that goal went in, and also towards the end of the game as the confidence builds for Badgers FC.
Someone on the Badgers bench might be about to see a card or just a very stern warning. Well, the answer appears to be very stern warning for Jerome Joseph. You can't fault him. From everything we saw, that should have been a foul. It should have been a yellow for a team that is bidding for a massive cup set. It bounces favorably into space. Tracking back defensively, Remy needed to because Barthelmy, the goalkeeper, slipped and fell as he was trying to set up for a possible strike from Jeremy Kelly.
Good recognition from Kisiedu just to play that over the back line. That's something, if the Badgers FC team keeps pushing higher, a space they can exploit.
Smith. Landry. So Landry trying to chip it over the defender to himself, wins the corner.
These are the moments for Charleston that are really important, and they're going to go quick.
All the complaints were still going on from Badgers. Corner taken quickly out to Blackstock. Apononu. Back where it started. Kelly can't bring it in. Just a lack of focus there from Kelly and Charleston.
When he's trying to bring it down with his right foot, there's no surface area to do that when it's that high. You've got to bring that down with the left foot. Not only is it the easier touch, but it also would take you right towards goal if done correctly.
Even chest or thigh would have been better
100%.
options. He picked the last of whatever he could have chosen in that moment. Clock is ticking. 7 minutes plus stoppage remaining.
I do like that Charleston is looking to play that back post ball because it's so aggressive of Badgers. They come to the strong side with all their numbers. So that little floater is always a very good option to catch teams off guard.
I mentioned earlier, we only saw one cup set yesterday. We saw no extra time games yesterday. Perhaps due tonight. 7 minutes plus stoppage in this game. Asheville and Greenville are tied at 170 minutes in. Two potential cup set bids. for Asheville City in that game, for Florida Badgers FC here. Altidore down again. Curious how much time might be remaining at the end of all this. What is added by the officials? We've seen a couple of these moments now.
You would expect that there will be quite a bit added at the end. And I'm not surprised to see some of this happening, though, with the lack of possession as well that Badgers FC has had, because they've had to do a lot of defending, a lot of running. They have not enjoyed the ball. Yes, there can be the gamesmanship piece for sure. I'm not eliminating that as part of the influence, but I do think cramping and with them having to cover ground has been a feat for them.
Well, that's what Graham Smith is coming in the chat about here with our referee, Tiago Dos Santos. Does appear as if they might be lifting Altidore from this game, though. When he went down that second time, Coach Jerome Joseph looked over and got James Dorneus up, and he's ready at the midfield line. He is going to be subbing off, it looks like. He just came off the field and went to go sit down. Trying to set up where the throw-in goes right now first. The sub hasn't been okayed, but it will be Dorneus for the goal scorer, Altidore. Miscommunication between the referees. Fourth official wanted to get the sub in now. Referee wasn't alert to it, let the throw happen, now blows it dead. And a yellow shown to Altidore, who's not happy about it, but he is being subbed off. Assistant referee now trying to make peace and sort things out.
Well, this could actually end up working against Badgers FC, because a lot of time could be added on for everything that is delaying this game. It just frustrates Charleston, where they're going to have more time, more opportunities to go forward. So there's got to be a player on Badgers FC that keeps this team organized if they want to stay in the game.
Yellow card rescinded. Still want to make the sub, though, right now, Badgers. And I think that's the forgotten part of this, and the referee forgot again. And let the throw happen. So still waiting to come in is James Dorneus, and still jogging around out there with a cramp is Dave Altidore.
It's a bad feeling as a sub. All you want to do is enter the game.
In the meantime, threaded through for Swan and a corner for Charleston. Let's stay tuned. Will they finally get the sub in this time, Florida Badgers?
Well, I'd like to see Charleston play this into the box. They look more dangerous when they play a direct corner kick. Even though they did score off the short one, the last two times they've served it in have been good opportunities.
88th minute at Patriots Point. 1-1 between the Charleston Battery and Florida Badgers. Corner for the Battery. Swung in, flicked on by Apononu. Doesn't make it through the traffic. At last, the substitution for Florida Badgers.
Maybe.
I think. Here we go. James Dorneus takes the spot of Dave Altidore, who leaves with the moment of the night. Brilliant strike to make it 1-1 in the 66th minute. James Dorneus listed as a defender on our roster sheets, and he made a beeline for the back line. So it looks like Badgers putting an extra defender in, sacrificing a striker. This is the game you play now, Casey. Can you find something on a counter, or can you get all the way to penalties and flip a coin?
I think for Charleston, they need to go more 1v1 in the wide channels, force them to make decisions. Maybe some tired legs would create a foul in a precarious situation. But there's a lot of good interchange in passing, but no real 1v1 isolations.
Given away, Barry, heavy touch, he lost it immediately. Told for now from the word on the field is minimum of 9 minutes of stoppage time, which was sort of expected given all we've seen in this second half. So still ample opportunity for Charleston here at home as the pro side against the amateur side to go and find a winner and ward off what would be in some ways an embarrassing cup set here at home in front of their crowd. Blackstock drives it in, header just wide from Barry.
That's a wonderful ball from Blackstock. He curls it behind the back line, and just watch Deliska. He throws him off just a little bit in that moment. There's a little bit of a push there, but Barry still has to do better with that ball. You want to hit it back to the post that it came from, so he'd be going far post. Instead, flicks it on.
90 minutes come and gone, 9 more tacked on. Kaza. Blackstock wins the throw. Just hasn't felt urgent from Charleston.
There's definitely a lack of urgency and intentionality. It just, sometimes you just have to go after it. You have to show that you want it. It's one thing to say it, but you've got to show it by how quickly you go into the attack, winning tackles. You can tell that Badgers FC, this means a lot to them, and they are just going after it, so you have to match that.
In behind, flag stays down, now it comes up. A late offside flag, robbing Laurent Kissiedu of a potential match winner. The crowd just now realizing the call made.
That backside run, though, is really efficient. This is lovely ball. Just flicked on and letting it go was Colton Swan. Kissiedu puts it away. That's a very close one, but very clever play and interchange in that middle third.
All the way back for Barthelemy. Blackstock. Hear all the roars and the cheers from the bench of Badgers and nothing from the side of Charleston. You can tell which side is more tense and which side feels the urgency right now. Blackstock. Ikaza.
It's the right idea. That ball just has to be lifted a little bit more. You want Badgers facing their own goal.
Ikaza looking through, long run for Barry. Keeps it in play. Put down, cleanly won. 6 minutes remaining in stoppage time. Jean, could be a counter on here for Badgers. All the way back for Burner. Dribbles it dangerously. Pushes it past Rudolph Jean.
Well, now this is where Badgers FC has players high, so I would go quickly before they can get into that defensive low block shape.
Expected goals obviously aren't real goals. Just give you a glimpse of the picture for the evening. It's 2.37 for Charleston, 0.1 for Badgers, and yet it's 1-1 in real goals. And there is a real chance at a cup set here. And this crowd is really angry right now at what they perceive to be gamesmanship with 2 players down. For Badgers, 1 got back up.
Well, and they were looking to play right away. Barry wanted to get the throw in. He got it from the ball kid, was ready to go, and then 2 players down. Referee stops that. This is where frustration sets in. As a player, this is infuriating when this does happen, but they've put themselves in this position. That you got to put, this is why you have to put chances away early. Efficiency matters because the team that's the lower seed can build with confidence.
Well, there's one point in the first half that Charleston had taken 12 shots. 11 of them came from inside the 18, so they were getting to the dangerous spots. They were creating what you'd like them to create. They just weren't finishing. They weren't even testing, and still haven't tested the keeper, Marc-Edouard Barthelemy. Just the 1 shot on target is the goal from way back when in the first half. There was a big goal elsewhere. Asheville City now up 2-1 on Greenville Triumph. They scored in the 82nd minute, Asheville City. So just a few minutes away from a potential cup set there. Would be another USL 2 over USL 1 cup set, like we saw last night with Vermont Green beating Portland. And Remy just sort of rolled himself off the field.
I think he was told to, and he took it literally.
In any event, after losing about another minute and a half there, that we'll see if he gets back at it on. 5.5 gone of the 9 minutes given in stoppage time. If the referee re-awards that time lost, could be going up over 100 minutes here. Ambrose into space, flag stays down, long run to get there, and kept in play by Rudolph Jean. Jean centers, bicycle. Okay, if that would have been connected and in, that might have been the greatest goal in the history of the 111 years of Open Cup. But we carry on instead. Numbers for Charleston. Kisiedu leaves it. Pahomov. Landry slips. Colton Swan out to Miguel Berry, centered, loose in front, almost an own goal. Dangerous moment, tracking back defensively. It's a corner.
Well, it's a clear tactic from Charleston to get the change of point, get it done quickly, and then play service behind the back line while they're facing their own goal. It almost helps them in this moment as it goes across the end line.
Jeremy Kelly will deliver. 2 minutes remaining, at least. Kelly, poor service. Apononu chasing it down, able to keep it in play, but forced all the way back to Landry. 90 seconds-ish separating these two teams from an extra 30 minutes. On a night where Charleston, probably early on, thought this would be routine. Kelly, Blackstock, service, Barry flicks it on. It's kept in play by Pahomov, good hustle. Barry, time to set it up. Barry, save by Barthelemy. His first official save of the night.
Well, it comes at a good time because this is lovely from Barry. Opens up, great save in that outside channel, finds Barry's feet. He's able to face forward. I like that he takes this from distance. He's trying to pick out the far post, but Barthelemy comes up with a big save.
Corner from Kelly dropped in. Landry, second effort, good service, the header off target from Smith. And frustration now mounting. Pahomov just kicked the post as he ran by.
This is incredibly frustrating for a team that's had a lot of the possession, or the vast majority of possession, but it is the little things. What type of service? When you don't have a lot of whip on the service, it's hard to get those headers on frame.
The shot that Barthelemy saved a moment ago was the 19th shot of the night for Charleston. It was only their second on target, so it was indeed his first save of the night. As hard as it is to fathom, given all the chances Charleston has had.
Wonder how many blocked shot saves we have.
There's been a number of blocked shots, and a couple of those came from just about the goal line. So some team saves, but not Barthelemy saves. Gives away the goal kick, though, Barthelemy. Barry. Through Ikaza. Not on the same page as a darting Jeremy Kelly. 9 minutes come and gone. We lost about a minute and a half of stoppage time with that one injury, so it's at the mercy now of the referee. Swan, Barry, dummied through for Kisiedu. Barry brought down, edge of the area, play on. Kisiedu slashes it wide. No deflection, goal kick. Meanwhile, Charleston the whole time wanted the free kick to be given. Instead, the referee played advantage.
I think the hard part about this one is it looked incredibly dangerous coming from behind. Some good interchange, good play. It goes back into the feet of Barry coming from behind on the strike, but it does fall right to Kisiedu, and he gets an opportunity to go towards goal.
Errant clearance. Throw for Charleston taken quickly. Only Thiago Dos Santos knows now when the final whistle is going to go, well beyond the 9 minutes that were added. He checks his watch. Are we headed for extra time? Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Apononu. Blackstock feeds it in. Out for a corner. Will they be allowed to take it? Seems to be
go quickly.
Enough time. Yeah, have to
go
hurry.
Quickly, but then take your time on the service. He's going to let it play. So as long as they get over there quickly and get going, they can take their time to set this up.
Kelly, the header loose in front. There's a winner for Charleston.
Unbelievable. Just right at the end, the service in from Jeremy Kelly. The initial header is helped out, but look at Colton Swan. He's just a poacher right in front of goal. He makes sure he stays onside. You can see the elation, the smile on his face. A lot of times he wasn't getting many opportunities around goal, but in 2 moments, that's what you need your striker to do, to be in the area and be able to put things away.
What you said, 2 moments from maybe a combined 5 yards away from goal. With the head on a secondary effort. 2 goals for the 18-year-old. His first 2 goals for the Battery. And barring any time that Thiago Dos Santos has found between the couch cushions here to tack on further at the end of this one, it will go down as a winner for the Battery. On a night where maybe they don't feel too proud about it and how it went down, you survive, you advance. That's, in not just this sport, but others, the terminology for March, survive and advance, and that's maybe what Charleston just did here.
You'll take it, and I think anyone will say that in a post-match presser. A coach will say that, but I think behind the scenes there'll be some conversations of what if we see this low block in the USL Championship against someone. If someone's watching this, how are we going to break that down? And there has to be improvements of it, but great resolve from Charleston to get the go-ahead goal this late.
On their 21st shot, only their second on target. Efficient in that regard. Both shots on target were goals, but only 2 of 21 shots were on target. Is there anything left here for Badgers? Everybody forward. Ball set long. Charleston wins it back and clears. Final whistle goes, and the Charleston Battery outlast Florida Badgers FC. The old guard in USL Championship and Open Cup. Well, they prevail and they're on to the second round, but this is the debut to remember for Florida Badgers FC, their first ever Open Cup appearance.
Great overall performance for Florida Badgers FC, a defensive structure that was not only organized and hard to break down, but they matched that with the effort to block shots, to get tackles, and a beautiful goal to get the equalizer. This wasn't a 0-0 game going down to the end. They found a way through Altitor to get a great goal. So this is, although it won't feel good now, a good performance from them to start off their campaign.
For Charleston, it's their second game of the year to go with 1 league match. It's 2 wins, so that's something to be happy about. We'll take a look back at how it all went down with the highlights. Colton Swan, the hero of the night, scored both goals for the Charleston Battery. Plenty of opportunities early on in this one for Charleston. It was the 21st minute that they finally broke through. Goal from Colton Swan. Again, very similar to how it was won in the end, a secondary header that finds him inside the 6.
Both goals off corner kicks. That's a positive you can take for the Charleston Battery. But before the second one would happen, the Badgers would have something to say about this. Through the foot of Altidore, doing incredibly well to open up. Pressure was not close enough on him to allow him to face forward. Then right at the very end of the game, again, a second chance opportunity off a header. Colton Swan is the recipient, and he makes no mistake about it.
It's a big night for Colton Swan. The 18-year-old from Detroit, Michigan, came up through the Colorado Rapids Academy, spent last year collegiately at Indiana. Now in his first season on a pro contract for Charleston. The stats don't necessarily tell the whole story. This was a fun one here to open things up for the Charleston Battery and Florida Badgers in the first round.
It certainly was. It was a difference of efficiency for sure if we look at the shots on target versus the shots. But ultimately, 22 shots for Charleston. They figured out how to get the 2 goals.
Well, that'll do it for us here tonight. Survive and advance is the theme this month in both this sport and another one played on some hardwood. And the Charleston Battery survived and they advanced. Plenty more action to come the rest of the evening. 15 matches in all on this Wednesday in Open Cup. For our broadcast partner, Casey White, and the crew that makes this possible, I'm Joe Malva saying so long for now. Charleston Battery 2, Florida Badgers 1. The Battery onto the second round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.